Ever feel like you're sprinting on a treadmill that's set to max speed, but you're not actually going anywhere? Like you're sweating, grinding, putting in the hours, doing all the right things, and somehow life's just sitting in the corner sipping a smoothie like, cute effort, buddy. Yeah, I've been there. We've all been there. And that's what we're going to talk about today. Why working harder isn't always the smartest move, and sometimes it's actually the dumbest thing you can do. I know, that sounds like a betrayal, like I just insulted your grandma's work ethic. But stay with me, all right? Because what if I told you that all your grinding, late nights, early mornings, stress headaches, caffeine overloads, and motivational podcasts haven't been helping as much as you think? What if the answer isn't more hustle? It's actually less. Now, before you throw your protein shake at the screen, let me explain. We've been sold this idea since birth. Work harder than everyone else, and you'll win. That's the whole game, right? You outgrind them. You outsuffer them. You become the Michael Jordan of spreadsheets. But let me tell you a story. There was this guy. We'll call him Dave. Dave was the kind of guy who treated productivity like religion. His calendar had so many color-coded blocks, it looked like a bag of Skittles exploded. Wake up at 4:30, run 10K, cold shower, journal, meditation, answer emails while blending a kale smoothie with one foot. You know the type. Dave thought if he just worked hard enough, he'd get promoted, be happy, make money, and finally feel like he was winning at life. So he kept pushing. He skipped breaks, skipped birthdays, skipped breakfast and lunch. Fast forward a year, Dave got promoted. And then he got shingles. Not the promotion kind, the stress kind. He couldn't sleep. He lost hair. He forgot how to smile. He had money, but no peace. And in the middle of a therapy session that he didn't even want to go to, he broke down. Not because he failed, but because he didn't fail. He won. He got the thing. And he was still miserable. That's when it hit him. He was climbing a ladder that was leaning against the wrong wall. And that's what I want to ask you. What wall is your ladder leaning against? Because here's the thing. Hard work is great. I'm not saying be lazy. I'm not saying quit your job and go live in a hammock. But if you're working harder just to avoid slowing down and facing what really matters, your health, your peace, your purpose, your relationships, then bro, you're not being productive, you're just being busy. And those are not the same thing. Look, I get it. We live in a world that worships hustle. If you're not tired, burned out, and living off espresso shots, people think you're not trying hard enough. But here's the truth. The world doesn't reward burnout. It rewards value. You don't get extra points for suffering. You get points for showing up in your power. Think about it. A guy digging a hole with a spoon is technically working harder than a guy using a shovel. But who's smarter? Who finishes faster? Who doesn't destroy their back in the process? That's what I mean. Working harder isn't bad, but doing it blindly without strategy, without reflection, that's when it turns into self-sabotage, wearing a motivational hoodie. Let me hit you with a plot twist. You ready? Trees grow by being still. Oceans are powerful because they flow. Some of the most successful, peaceful, joyful people on this planet know when to pause. They know how to say no. They know how to rest without guilt. They know how to think. And that, right there, is the key. Thinking, pausing, zooming out. Because what's the point of being a beast at grinding if you're grinding the wrong thing? I had a friend, let's call him Jay. Jay worked nonstop building a business he didn't even care about. He thought if he just pushed a little longer, made a little more, then he'd have time for the stuff that mattered. You know how this ends, right? One day his son asked him, "Dad, how come you're always on your laptop? Do you love your computer more than me?" That question hit him like a truck. Not a slow roll, not a tap on the shoulder. A full-speed, soul-punching, heart-resetting truck that didn't even honk before impact. His son didn't mean it to hurt. He wasn't being dramatic. It wasn't some rebellious, angsty moment. It was just a tiny voice from the back seat during what was supposed to be a normal ride home. Just a kid being honest in the only way kids know how to be, completely. And that's what broke Jay, because that simple question cut through years of excuses. All the "I'm doing this for my family" speeches. All the "one day we'll go on that trip" promises. All the missed games, ignored bedtime stories. Half-listened conversations at dinner, while his brain was still back in some meeting from 5 hours ago. All of it. Shattered in a 5-second question. Jay laughed awkwardly when his son said it. You know that uncomfortable laugh you do when you feel seen, but don't want to admit it? That one. He mumbled something about loving his son more than anything and turned the music up a little to fill the silence. But the truth was already out there, and it echoed all the way to the grocery store, where he sat in the car, hands on the wheel, eyes glassy. And then, for the first time in a long time, he felt not just stress or pressure or the go, go, go buzz of the hustle, but guilt, regret, and underneath it, love. A love he hadn't had time to express lately because he'd been too busy proving he was a provider, a protector, a winner. But what good is winning the world if you lose your kid's trust in the process? So he sat there and he cried. 45 minutes, not because he was weak, but because he was finally honest. He cried for the birthdays he half celebrated, the bedtime stories he skimmed through with one eye on Slack, the moments he missed not because he wasn't there, but because he wasn't really there. And in that parking lot, something in him broke open. Not in a bad way, in the kind of way that lets light in. He realized he'd been chasing approval from people who wouldn't even remember his name in a few years. He was sacrificing sacred things, his time, his presence, his peace, for meetings, deadlines, just one more email. And that day, he decided, no more. Jay didn't quit his job. He didn't throw his laptop in the river, but he changed his relationship with work. He stopped letting it control his life like some needy ex. He set boundaries, protected his time, started asking, is this actually important? Before saying yes to everything. He started measuring success differently, not by how full his calendar was, but by how full his life felt. And slowly, the guilt started to fade. Not because he became perfect, but because he became present. Now when his son tells a story about a monster truck that shoots rockets and farts glitter, Jay listens like it's the most important TED Talk of the year. He's there, fully. When his kid laughs, he doesn't just hear it, he feels it. And guess what? Jay's not just happier. He's better at everything, healthier, clearer, more respected at work. Because when you build your life from a place of intention, not desperation, everything aligns. And here's the twist. Jay didn't have a time machine. He couldn't get back those missed moments. But he learned that starting now is powerful enough. That showing up late is still better than not showing up at all. That one brave decision to pause can rewrite your entire story. Because when you stop trying to look busy and start focusing on being impactful, your whole world changes. You stop chasing validation. You start creating meaning. You stop being a background character in your own life. You step into the role you were meant to play. And that, my friend, is the shift we all need. Not more hustle, not more hours, but more presence, more intention, more moments that actually matter. So when I say some of y'all are out here running marathons in the wrong direction, I mean it. You're sweating, you're tired, you're proud of how far you've gone. But what if all this effort is just taking you further away from what matters most? What if you're sprinting past the very thing your heart is begging you to notice? Meanwhile, life's standing at the finish line, waving its arms, shouting, "Bro, you're going the wrong way!" And maybe, just maybe, the smartest thing you could do right now isn't to run faster. It's to stop, turn around, and walk slowly, intentionally toward what really matters.